Hey guys, ready to dive into the wild world of Luz Noceda from the show The Owl House? Buckle up, because this human-turned-witch apprentice story is one heck of a ride. The Dominican-American teenager stumbled into the demon realm and was like, I feel at home. She's got a heart of gold, a brain full of fantasy novels, and enough determination to make even the grumpiest witch, looking at you, Ada, crack a smile. Whether she's battling magical baddies or just trying to figure out how to be herself, Luz's journey is pure magic. Ready to see how this adorable goofball becomes a full-fledged witch? Follow along! Luz Noceda is a creative and imaginative teenage human who stumbles upon a portal leading to the magical Boiling Isles. Despite not having any inherent magical abilities, Luz is determined to prove herself as a witch and begins learning magic under the guidance of Ida, the notorious Owl Lady. Luz's childhood was marked by both joy and sorrow. She was very close to her parents, who encouraged her creative spark from a young age. However, when Luz was still little, her father developed an illness that prompted the family to move to Gravesfield, Connecticut, to be closer to a hospital that could treat him effectively. Sadly, Luz's father passed away despite their efforts. In her grief, Luz found solace in the last gift her father gave her, the first book of the Good Witch Azura series. The story captivated Luz and ignited her passion for fantasy, providing an escape and a way to cope with her loss. Growing up in Gravesfield was challenging for Luz. She struggled to fit in and make friends, as her eccentric behavior and unusual interests often led to her being ostracized by both children and adults. At school, Luz's antics frequently disrupted classes, landing her in trouble with teachers and making her a target for bullies who mocked her attempts to impress her romantic interests. These experiences left Luz fearful of interacting with other teenagers and strained her relationship with her mother, Camila, who grew increasingly concerned about Luz's lack of friends and inconsistent academic performance, prompting Camila to decide to send Luz to a summer camp to help her get her wild imagination under control. While waiting for the bus to camp, a disappointed Luz chased a small brown owl that had picked up her discarded Azura book. The owl led her to an old, rundown house containing a portal that transported Luz to the Boiling Isles. There she met Ida, a witch known as the notorious Owl Lady, who took Luz to the Owl House while running from law enforcement. Luz also encountered Hootie and King, Ida's unusual housemates. After a thrilling adventure involving a search for King's crown of power and a realization of how unfulfilling life at summer camp would be, Luz decided to stay at the Owl House and learn magic from Ida. Luz's early days in the Boiling Isles were a mix of excitement and challenges. She discovered that humans were not well liked in this realm and found herself tricked by a vengeful puppeteer named Adagast. With help from her new friends, Luz managed to overcome these obstacles and appreciate the beauty of the Boiling Isles from a fresh perspective. Frustrated by the slow pace of Ida's magic lessons, Luz seized an opportunity to sneak into Hexide, the local magic school, by posing as an abomination created by a young witch named Willow. Luz helped Willow pass her exam, much to the chagrin of Amity Blight, the top student. Although Luz's ruse was eventually discovered, resulting in her being banned from Hexide, her actions led to Willow being transferred to the plant magic track, a development that delighted both Willow and Luz, and it also helped Luz appreciate Ada's teaching and guidance more. Luz's eagerness to learn magic led her to an important discovery about her mentor. After Ada explained that witches in the Boiling Isles have a bile sac near their heart to perform magic, Luz felt disheartened by her human limitations. Determined to prove she could still do magic, Luz convinced King to help her borrow Ida's daily elixir, believing it to be the source of Ida's power. However, their plan backfired when Ida transformed into a monster without her elixir. Luz learned that the potion wasn't for enhancing magic, but for keeping a curse at bay, a secret Ida had been hiding since her youth. This adventure not only taught Luz about the complexities of the magical world, but also strengthened her resolve to find her own unique way of learning magic, even without a bile sac. Her next opportunity to immerse herself in the magical world of the Boiling Isles came during a visit to Ida's human trash stand. Her friends Willow and Gus invited her to the annual Witches Convention, an event that Luz was eager to attend. With some convincing, Luz managed to persuade a reluctant Ida to let her go. However, at the convention, Luz once again crossed paths with Amity, whose dislike for the human had only grown since the abomination incident. When Amity and her friends exclude Willow from a moonlight conjuring, Luz, Willow, and Gus decide to have their own at the Owl House. However, Their attempt to bring a Beef Bob figure to life accidentally animates the entire house instead. They take the house on a joyride, causing mischief along the way, but are eventually caught by demon hunters. Willow reveals her past friendship with Amity and her desire to prove herself, and with Luz's encouragement, she uses her plant powers to free them and reclaim the house. Despite getting caught by Ida and being punished, the trio's powerful magic impresses her. Luz's efforts to mend her relationship with Amity continue when she visits the library and meets Amity's older siblings, Edric and Amira. They invite Luz to join them in sneaking into the library during the Wailing Star event, which brings books to life. However, the twins attempt to steal Amity's diary, which Luz tries to prevent. Amity catches them and is disappointed in Luz, believing her to be just another bully. Luz and Amity end up working together to escape an animated book character turned monstrous, and Luz gives Amity the 5th book in the Good Witch Azura series as a peace offering, revealing their shared love for the series and tentatively starting a friendship. When Gus lies to Luz about her ban from Hexside being lifted to protect his position in the Human Appreciation Society, Luz is discovered and thrown into the detention pit. Gus apologizes and gets himself and Methalamule, his rival, thrown in to save her. They escape, damaging the room, but are caught by Ida and Principal Bump, who had agreed to let Luz attend Hexside the following semester. Gus takes responsibility for the incident to protect Luz's admission. Luz and Ida bond over Ida's palisman, Albert. But when Luz injures Albert while flying recklessly, the Bat Queen refuses to return him unless Luz completes a series of tasks. Luz proves her good character to the Bat Queen, who is revealed to be a palisman herself, and promises to be more careful in the future. Finally, at a book fair, Luz and King decide to write a book together, but clash over creative differences. After King's solo work is rejected, they collaborate under duress from King's publisher, Pignette. Using Luz's light glyph, they escape Pignette's trap and defeat his minions, with the help of an aspiring author who provides a moving manuscript. After the exciting adventure at the book fair, Luz continued to explore and learn more about the magical world of the Boiling Isles. As she was looking through a brochure for Hexside, Luz remembered she was supposed to meet Amity to get her book back. When she saw Amity, her siblings Edric and Amira appeared as well. After Amity handed over the book, Luz mentioned they could start a book club once she started attending Hexside. However, Amity revealed that to be in her class, one must know a minimum of 2 spells or they would be placed in the baby class. Panicking, Luz lied about knowing 2 spells and rushed back to the Owl House to insist that Ida teach her more. Ida took Luz to the knee to train, where they ran into Amity and her siblings, who were teaching Amity to use a fire spell with a training wand. As Luz struggled with Ida's unconventional teaching methods, she criticized her mentor, and when the Blights left their camp, stole the training wand to perform a fire spell herself. Ida caught her and chastised Luz for taking a shortcut, explaining that her methods were tailored to Luz's unique situation as a human learning magic. Their argument led to Luz accidentally unleashing a fire blast that hit a slither beast, which then captured Ida and the twins. Amity trapped Luz in a cage to keep her safe. While observing the sky, Luz discovered a light glyph in the stars, and upon inspecting a snowflake, uncovered the ice glyph. Using her newly found knowledge, Luz escaped and tracked down Amity and the Slither Beast's den. The girls worked together to free Ida and the twins, and Ida knocked out the Slither Beast. Amity congratulated Luz on learning a new spell and agreed to form a secret book club with her before they returned home, only to find the aftermath of King and Hootie's battle with animated toys. Despite fumbling her placement audition, Luz got into Hexside and was nervous as Ida dropped her off. Willow and Gus congratulated her for getting in, and Amity welcomed her to school. After King, who had snuck into school in her backpack, started eating out of the trash can, Luz told him they did not know each other if anyone asked. In Principal Bump's office, Luz gave a schedule of classes she wanted to take, but Bump said she was only allowed to study one of the 9 tracks and selected potions for her. Luz tried to force herself to like only potions, but seeing Willow sparring with an Oracle student increased her multi-track interest. After Bump caught her trying to use a crystal ball, he placed her in the detention track to maintain the school's image for an upcoming inspector's visit. Luz looked out the window and saw Willow and Gus begging them to get her out of detention, saying she was too good for it. After the teacher fell asleep, the other detention track students, Gerbo, Viney, and Barkus, showed her a secret room they used to secretly learn magic and a heavily vandalized portrait of the room's creator. Just then, Willow and Gus came in, and the others overheard them saying Luz thought she was too good for detention, turning them against her. Luz left with her friends as the inspector, really a basilisk, drained the students and staff of their magic. Luz apologized to the detention track kids, and they worked together to bring down the basilisk. However, Bump berated them for breaking school rules, but ultimately gave in, allowing the detention track students to take on 2 tracks and permitting Luz to study all 9. Afterwards, Bump cleaned off the portrait of the room's creator, revealing it to be Ida. As Luz left for school one day, she learned it had closed due to a pixie infestation. She went to a fair with Ida and King, and after King found a pair of friendship bracelets, Luz decided to help him win them. However, she became distracted when Willow and Gus arrived, starting to ignore King. After King bought a potion that shrunk Luz's friends, she wondered where they were, so she and King looked for them while getting tickets for the bracelets. As King got the bracelets, Willow and Gus got Luz's attention and told her what King did. When King returned, Luz chastised him for his actions, but Tibbles, who sold King the potion, shrunk him and Luz, putting the 4 in his miniature animal exhibit to fight the animals. Learning the only way to reverse the potion was to have Tibbles tap his cheek, Luz and her friends tricked him into doing so. After being turned back to normal and the animals chased Tibbles, King apologized and offered the broken bracelets as a peace offering, which they accepted. In photo class, Luz and Willow extracted memories from each other, and Luz became curious upon seeing a memory of Willow and Amity. Willow dismissed it as the past and asked Luz not to ask about it more before reversing the photo. However, after they left, Amity saw the photo and burned it, inadvertently destroying Willow's other memory. Luz and Gus noticed Willow acting strangely and returned to the photo lab to find Amity trying to salvage the photos. Luz berated her for it as Willow slumped on the girls, saying they would be good friends. Luz took Amity, Willow, and Gus to the Owl House, where Ada explained they had to go into Willow's mind and fix the damage manually. Amity and Luz volunteered and entered Willow's mind. The girls began fixing the memories inside Willow's mind, but Amity was against going into the memory she had tried to destroy. Soon, they noticed that the memories of Amity they fixed were being destroyed by a monster, which revealed itself as Inner Willow. Inner Willow pulled Luz and Amity into the memory, showing Amity pushing Willow away. As Inner Willow tried to destroy Amity, she revealed how her parents had forced her to end the friendship. Luz watched as Amity apologized and promised to be a better person in the future. Inner Willow accepted the apology, allowing them to fix the memory. After exiting Willow's mind, Willow questioned Luz on how Amity found out about the memory in the first place. As Luz discovered the plant glyph, when receiving a text from her mom asking about how camp is going, Luz sent an emoji in response, not wanting to say anything that could possibly reveal the truth of her being in another realm practicing magic rather than being in the summer camp practicing being normal, then headed to school. As Grudgeby season started, Basha began bullying Willow. Luz challenged Basha to a Grudgeby match, surprising everyone. Willow and Gus taught Luz about the game, but training went poorly, causing them to quit. After Amity talked to Luz, she decided to forfeit, and Basha used her as target practice. However, Gus, Willow, and Amity arrived, teaming up with Luz as Gus cheered from the sidelines. During the game, Luz discovered the fire glyph. Despite her team gaining more points, Basha won after catching the rusty smidge. Both teams, except Basha, congratulated each other, and Luz helped Amity after she hurt her leg. As Luz researched how to build a new portal, she asked Ida about it, but Ida revealed she knew nothing of the portal's origins. Suddenly, they heard Lilith scream as her curse took effect. Ida gave her an elixir just as their mother, Gwendolyn Clawthorn, arrived claiming to have found a cure. Ida rejected the supposed cure and sent Gwen away. After berating Ida for her treatment of their mother, Luz agreed to help Gwen cure Ida. Gwen explained she had met a healer named Master Wortlop who gave her a book containing the cure. Luz and Gwen set up traps to help Ida, but Luz began to doubt the cure as it took effect. She asked to see the book, but Gwen refused. Luz took it from her, realizing it was nonsense, and decided to get elixir. However, Gwen revealed she had Hawksley, her palisman, take every bottle. In a fit of rage, Ida transformed into the Owl Beast. King and Hootie arrived, informing them that Lilith had also transformed. The sisters fought and headed into town. Luz and King pursued them as Gwen stared in disbelief. They tried to get elixir from Morton, but he turned them away due to lack of money. Gwen, finally realizing she had been conned, arrived with elixir, and the three subdued the sisters, returning them to normal. As everyone said goodbye to Gwen and Lilith, who left to reconnect, Gwen revealed that Luz was the second human she knew to arrive in the Boiling Isles and that he had left a diary at the library. Luz wondered how her mother was reacting now that camp was over, unaware that someone had been taking her place. Needing a library card to access the Bonesboro Library, Luz went to Gus, who knew what she was after. At the library, she told Amity about Philip Whittabane, the human who came before her, and that she was looking for his diary. Amity said it should be in the Forbidden Stacks and agreed to take Luz if they remained silent, as she could get fired otherwise. In the Forbidden Stacks, they hid from Malthus, the master librarian, who would feed them to bookworms if caught. They found the diary, but a mouse had eaten the pages. Luz shouted in frustration, and Malthus discovered them. He fired Amity and escorted them out. Luz apologized and begged Malthus to give Amity her job back, performing various tasks to make it happen. At Blight Manor, Luz found Amity with changed hair color. She revealed she got Amity's job back and described what she went through as the mouse that ate the diary appeared. Amity explained it was an echo mouse, demonstrating how it projects what it eats. Luz changed her attitude on the mouse, saying they would be great friends. Amity then kissed Luz on the cheek, surprising both girls. As Luz waited for the Echo Mouse to project another entry, Ada called her to Hexidae for a chance to get her owl palisman. However, unable to think of a goal or understand her heart's desire, Luz was the only one in her class not to get one. Dejected, she returned to the owl house where she saw a red cardinal palisman and hoped he would choose her, but he did not. She took him back to school with the other unpaired palisman and talked about potential goals in their nest when it suddenly lifted off the ground. Investigating, Luz discovered the Golden Guard had abducted the palisman. She put a fire glyph on his back to propel him off and tried to land the ship, but he returned, and they fought over the controls as a hand dragon attacked. Luz found herself in a new realm after diving into the portal she and her companions had constructed. She tried using an ice glyph to access a floating cube, but it failed. Calling out her companions' names, a cube emerged from the liquid on the ground. Looking through it, Luz saw Ada, King, and Hootie reflected in a second-floor window. Realizing she could communicate through reflections by saying people's names, Luz said her mother's name and a cube appeared. To her shock, Luz saw her mother dancing in the kitchen with a doppelganger of herself. Panicking, Luz counted to 5 to calm down, causing another cube to appear. She looked into it and saw the doppelganger in her mirrored closet door. The doppelganger screamed, and when her mother asked what was wrong, Luz shouted back that she had seen spoilers for her favorite anime. The doppelganger then jumped out the window and ran to the old house. The doppelganger, caught in a snare trap, reverted to her true form. Through a compact mirror, Luz instructed her how to free herself, and the doppelganger introduced herself as V, a basilisk. Luz was happy her mom wasn't worried about her, but V needed magic to maintain her disguise. Spotting a newspaper article about one of Ida's visits to the human realm, Luz guessed some residual magic might have been left behind. At the cafe mentioned in the article, they learned Ida, under the alias Marilyn, had done something to the pastries after being kicked out for trying to pay with a live raccoon. In the alley behind the cafe, they found talking rats, which V ran away from. Heading to the park, V ran into her cabin mates from Reality Check Summer Camp, who were playing with Hex's Hold'em cards from the Gravesfield Historical Society. At the Historical Society, V asked Jacob, the man at the front desk, about the cards. While waiting for him to get a pack, V chastised Luz for leaving her good life and explained her own life before taking Luz's place. Smelling something, V went to the back room and discovered Jacob was an amateur witch hunter. Caught in a trap, she reverted to her true form. Excited to have finally caught a demon, Jacob explained his previous encounters with creatures from the demon realm. After he left, Luz suggested ideas to get V out, but V, believing it was too dangerous now that he knew her disguise, smashed the mirror. Luz decided to contact her mother for help. At first, Camilla thought it was a video call and Luz was playing a game, but upon arriving at the Historical Society, she realized it was real and helped free V by knocking out Jacob. Back home, Luz appeared to them in the rain, caught in headlights. As V went inside, Camilla expressed her fear of never being able to speak to Luz in person again. Luz explained that staying in the demon realm was the best decision she ever made, causing her mother to become distraught, thinking she had driven Luz away. Apologizing, Luz was pulled away, and Camilla made her promise to stay in the human realm. Reluctantly agreeing, Luz was pulled back as the door imploded. Lying to her companions, Luz said things had gone well, and that her mother wanted to meet them. After telling her mother the truth, Luz started making videos to show her the demon realm as she saw it, but most clips failed to prove her point. Waiting to be picked up from school, Luz's friends theorized about what was behind Belos's mask. When asked about her trip home, Luz lied, saying she hadn't used the portal yet. As Ida and King arrived on Albert, Luz bid Gus and Willow farewell before kissing Amity on the cheek, leaving her girlfriend blushing in shock. Luz ran off to join Ida and King, forgetting her phone on the school steps, which Amity took. The trio flew to the night market, where King revealed they were waiting for information on Rain Whispers, Ida's ex-romantic partner and head of the Barred Coven. Confused by Rain's file stating they still led the Coven, despite being exposed as a traitor, they saw Kikimora struggling to get time off for a family reunion. Luz wanted to recruit her to get to Rain, and Kikimora agreed to help. During the Coven Day parade, they put their plan into action. King and Hootie caused a distraction, while Luz kidnapped Kikimora and Ida kidnapped Rain. At the docks, Kikimora turned on them and attacked, but Amity saved them. Terra Snapdragon, head of the Plant Coven, arrived and stopped the fight, taking Kikimora with her. Amity showed Luz her phone, revealing she knew Luz had lied about the portal. Luz apologized and told her everything as they met back up with the others. Watching the parade, they were shocked when Belos announced the Day of Unity would occur in exactly 1 month and showed the crowd his face for the first time. As the Day of Unity approached, Luz watched Ida and King's memories while they slept. The next morning, Ida took Luz and King to have her cloak repaired, but Prim, her usual seamstress, refused service after joining the Oracle Coven. As Prim closed the door, Luz called Belos a fraud, causing onlookers to become nervous. Ada calmed her down, explaining that people had been swayed by Belos for half a century and needed real proof to change their minds. Spotting Hunter, Luz tailed him, only to end up in Belos's mind with him. Waking up in a hallway lined with portraits, Luz and Hunter were berated by a shadowy figure resembling Belos. They fell through a wall into a dead forest, where Luz tried to convince Hunter of Belos's malicious actions. Hiding in a memory, they witnessed Belos preaching about the Coven system and orchestrating a fake attack by wild witches to gain support. They also saw the first witches inducted into the 9 covens react negatively to the sigils and be left to die. Belos was then shown speaking to the Collector, revealing their plan to kill the Boiling Isle's inhabitants with a draining spell. To Luz and Hunter's horror, it was revealed that Belos had killed all the previous Golden Guards. Confronting the inner Belos, Hunter was sunk into the ground by Belos, who admitted to being a witch hunter and revealed his true identity as Philip Wittebane. Mockingly, Belos explained how Luz had helped him find the key component in his plan to eradicate witches and demons. As Belos attacked, Ida, through a walkie-talkie, said she could get Luz out. Hunter burst from the ground to save Luz, and they were pulled out of Belos's mind, with Hunter fleeing in a panic. Luz told the others what she had learned, and they listened in disbelief. Lilith arrived, informed by Hootie, and Hootie coughed up a letter to King from his potential family containing a key. Luz suggested she, King, and Hootie set out to get their help in stopping the Day of Unity. Reaching the finger of a different Titan, they were teleported to a faraway island and greeted by Tarek, a demon resembling King. Tarek explained the Titan Trapper's mission to eradicate Titans and free their god, the Grand Huntsman. Dropped off to speak with their leader, Bill, Luz tried to convince him to help against Belos, but Bill dismissed the request, stating Titans were a greater threat. Hootie led Luz to a room filled with skulls resembling King's and a disc like the one Philip had dug up. Realizing King was a Titan and the Titan Trappers worshipped the Collector, they hurried to warn him. Bill figured it out as well and planned to sacrifice King. Luz and Hootie saved King, informing him he was the last Titan, and they destroyed the teleportation point to prevent the Titan Trappers from following them. Returning to Bonesboro, they found themselves on wanted posters and moved secretly to the Owl House, only to find it emptied by Coven scouts. A hidden note led them to the Knee, where they were trapped by Ida and Lilith. Luz suggested raiding the warehouse where their belongings were to find King's favorite toy, Francois. Disguised as scouts, Luz found Francois but overheard Ida begging Rain to get her and King away before the Day of Unity. Furious, Luz confronted Ida, and a fight broke out, drawing the scouts' attention. Arrested and placed in separate carriages, Luz cried out for Ida as she was taken away. The carriage stopped, and Luz, restrained by Darius Dimon and freed by Eberwolf, found herself with Ida, King, Lilith, Hootie, Steve, Katya, Derwin, and Amber. Ida explained they were the Covens against the throne, cats formed to stop the Day of Unity. At their headquarters, Ida gave Luz a box of palistrom wood and they began carving her palisman. During a cats meeting, they decided to use Ida's curse to disrupt the draining spell by having her masquerade as Rain and be branded with a barred sigil. Ida agreed, and Luz questioned if she was okay with the plan. Ida admitted she wasn't, but believed it was their best chance. Luz and King hugged Ida goodbye, and Luz made Rain promise to watch out for her. Katya dropped Luz off to free Amity, who had been grounded by her parents. To her surprise, Luz met up with Willow, Gus, and Hunter. When she almost said Hunter was a Grimwalker, he interrupted her, pulling her aside to explain he didn't want others to know what he was just yet, likening his feelings to Luz not wanting the others to know how she helped Philip meet the Collector. The five went to Blight Manor, taking out the guards. Luz went to Amity's room, where she heard Amity say she wouldn't let the world end before they went on a real date. Embracing, Luz promised to take Amity on a real date after everything was over, and Amity kissed her, startling both girls. Luz revealed she had brought backup, and they, along with the twins, went to the Blight's factory. At the factory, the twins and King separated from the main group, with Gus disguising himself, Luz, Amity, Willow, and Hunter as Coven scouts as they looked for Amity's parents. However, they were spotted when Kikamura recognized Hunter's voice. Restrained and put in a force field by Amity's mother, Amity seemingly broke the force field, but her father arrived with King, revealing he had freed them and telling his wife about the draining spell. She revealed she already knew and didn't care, believing their family would be spared and gain a higher status. A fight broke out, and Luz had Gus switch her and Hunter's appearances. Kikimura grabbed her, thinking she was Hunter, and flew off, with Luz readying herself to face Belos. Delivered to Belos, Kikimura asked to be his new second-in-command, but Belos told her to find a hole to die in. After Kikimura left, Belos revealed he knew Kikimura had brought him Luz, not Hunter. Luz fought Belos to stop the draining spell, but he subdued her, saying he had her best intentions at heart as a fellow human and didn't want another soul corrupted by the demon realm. As Luz continued to fight, Belos started to petrify her, and she noticed a branding glove forming a plan. Pretending to offer to be Belos' modern-day guide, Luz insulted his wardrobe. Belos tossed her to the table with the glove, and as the petrification was almost complete, he agreed to Luz's proposal. Insisting they shake on it, Luz used an invisibility glyph to hide the glove and branded Belos with a Coven sigil, ordering him to stop the draining spell. However, Belos transformed into a sludge monster and attacked her. Amity, Willow, Gus, and Hunter arrived to help fight Belos, but despite their efforts, they were outmatched. During the struggle, one of Belos' attacks inflicted a small yet permanent vertical-shaped scar through Luz's left eyebrow. Before Belos could deliver the final blow, the Collector stopped him, flattening him against the wall. As the Collector approached, King appeared and convinced him to stop the draining spell. The Collector then insisted they play Owl House and began deconstructing the skull. As her friends crossed through the portal to the human realm, Luz insisted on staying to help take care of the Collector, but King insisted she go. Thanking her for being his big sister, King blasted Luz and her friends through the portal. Luz ran to help, but the portal closed. Separated from their loved ones, Luz took her friends to her house where her mother tearfully embraced her. Luz and her friends had soup inside, and after dinner she got band-aids from the bathroom. Hunter thanked her for not telling the others what he was, and they discussed their fears about the others' reactions to their secrets. They decided to keep them for the time being, before joining the others to explain the demon realm's current state. Luz and V helped settle Amity and Willow in her room, while her mother got Gus and Hunter settled in the basement. When Luz asked her mother why she wasn't mad, her mother said she was just happy Luz was home. Luz blamed herself for getting her friends stranded on Earth. Over the following months, Luz and her friends worked on a portal, but all attempts ended in failure, with Luz blaming herself. During this time, Luz came out as bisexual to her mother and revealed she and Amity were dating, much to her mother's joy. She helped her friends adapt to the human realm and showed them the joys of her home. Luz also waited patiently for her palisman to hatch, but it did not. She drew various drawings of Ada and King, missing them deeply, and glyphs in her spare time, discarding them when they failed to work. As the platform began to shake, Luz watched her mother and friends being pulled away before passing out. A figure told her to wake up, and Luz found herself and String Bean in the Emperor's castle's throne room dressed like the Emperor. Exiting the castle, she encountered Amity, who accused her of making everything worse. Luz tried to defend herself, but Amity attacked. Running inside, Luz found herself in a forest with Willow, who accused her of giving false hope for the future before attacking. Fleeing, Luz found herself on a stage with Gus in front of Hexite students, accusing her of destroying their families. Backing off the stage, Luz found herself on a bridge with Hunter, expressing anger that she got a palisman just as he lost his. Amity, Willow, and Gus appeared, preparing to attack. Terrified, Luz tried to reason with them, but realized it wasn't real when Amity said witches battle instead of witches duel. Snapping her friends out of it, they were quickly pulled away. but not before Amity handed her a light glyph. Luz activated it and woke up. Waking, Luz saw Ada and King being tormented by puppets. She woke them with light glyphs, and they happily embraced, with Luz introducing Stringbean. Their reunion was interrupted by the Collector, who forced them to play games. As they played, Luz and her friends fought for their lives, surviving. The Collector broke down in tears, revealing his siblings told him to come to their planet, where he befriended baby Titans. However, his siblings attacked the Titans, and their father accused him of hurting them and imprisoned him. He lamented never having a friend who didn't betray him, and commented on Luz and the others' closeness. They explained they weren't always like that, and showed the Collector how they grew close. Explaining they grew close after learning they fit in nowhere else, Luz showed the Collector pictures of her past adventures. Seeing a Grudgeby picture, they took him to Hexside. As Ada reminisced about her history with the game, the Collector tried to befriend students but frightened them away. They then took him to the Knee, explaining how Luz learned to connect to the Isles and revealing they befriended enemies through kindness and forgiveness. The Collector heard something, and they saw the skull's eye sockets light up, revealing Belos had taken possession of the Titan. Reaching the castle, they saw Belos, now a large, monstrous form, emerging from it. When the Collector failed to get Belos to change his ways, Luz defended him but died in the process, causing Ada and King to gain strength through rage. In the in-between realm, Luz spoke with King's father, the Titan. Shocked, Luz listened as he revealed he'd been watching King. Luz confessed she hoped Belos would die at the Collector's hand, and King's father admitted regretting imprisoning the Collector on false accusations. Luz asked if they were as bad as Belos, but King's father said Belos was pretending to be the hero of his own story to fit his agenda. As King's father faded, he gave Luz the last of his magic, warning it was temporary. Reluctant at first, Luz accepted it and asked if he had anything to say to King. He told her. Luz returned with a new human-Titan fusion form, and she, Ada, and King took on Belos as the Collector helped her friends in the archives. Combining their powers, they countered the corrosion Belos placed on the Isles. As they fought, they saw the left arm rising. Making their way to the throne room, Ada freed Rain, and the four attempted to pry Belos off the heart. As the others held him off, an enraged Luz pulled Belos off the heart, ending his corrosion upon the Isles. As her friends emerged from the deteriorating moss, quietly relieved by their victory, Luz solemnly confronted what remained of Belos in the debris of the demolished throne room. Arriving, Luz watched as the last small pile of Belos's cursed flesh morphed into his younger appearance as Philip Wittebane from their meeting in the Deadwardian era. She listened as he feigned remorse for his evil deeds, claiming he was under the influence of a curse she had freed him from. Luz, no longer susceptible to his manipulations, saw through the facade and stared at her former murderer in hateful disgust. As Philip continued his attempts to deceive her, Luz used the last of her Titan powers to silently summon a small pour of boiling rain, quickly melting away Belos's body and revealing his true form while leaving her untouched, thanks to the Titan's magic. With his body almost completely dissolved by the time he reached her feet, the fallen tyrant grabbed hold of her left leg and made one final plea for mercy, stating that they, as humans, were better than this. Luz, not even acknowledging his petty words, remained silent and simply stepped back to leave him to his fate. As she impassively looked down on him in contempt, Rain, Ada, and King, protected underneath a leaf, arrived on the scene from behind her. Luz watched as she let the trio stomp Belos to death as punishment for his many atrocities upon their world, ending the evil emperor and his threat to the Boiling Isles for good. With Belos finally defeated, Ada, King, and Rain watched in astonishment as Luz floated into the air and returned to her original form, the Titan spirit leaving her body before moving on to the afterlife. This left her to fall from the air, but she was swiftly caught by Ada and King. They all lay down together on the grass in exhaustion and relief. Upon regaining her senses, Luz whispered into King's ear the message his father asked her to give him, "I loaf you," much to his joy and their mutual laughter. With relief, Luz took in and expressed to her found family the realization that despite everything they faced, the ordeal against Belos was now over, and they had managed to stick together as promised. Following this, the three, relaxed and tired from the battle, fell asleep beside one another as Rain happily watched on nearby. Sometime later, the group returned to the Owl House with Rain, reuniting with the Collector, Lilith, Amity, and Camila. Luz happily embraced and shared a passionate kiss with her beloved girlfriend before joyfully hugging her mother in celebration. Luz then watched as King and a nervous Ida finally introduced themselves to Camila, resulting in her happily pulling them both and Luz into a warm hug, much to her daughter's happiness. The group then watched as the Collector conjured forth the collected Hootie before restoring him to normal. Once revived, Hootie and Lilith shared an overjoyed embrace, with Luz pulling her mother and Amity into a tearful hug at the sight of it, seemingly oblivious to their respective discomfort over the house demon's bizarre manner of affection. As her loved ones continued to associate and reunite, Luz stepped outside and solemnly tapped one of her paper glyphs. Unfortunately, nothing happened as she recognized that with the Titan spirit having finally moved on, there was no longer a magic source to power the glyphs. Though saddened that she could no longer use glyphs to cast magic, Luz remained undeterred in her desire to become a witch. She let the paper glyph fly off into the wind as a sign of her acceptance and excitement over the new chapter of her life. As the glyph flew off into the air, Luz was brought her hat by Stringbean, who proceeded to cuddle her cheek before transforming into her staff form. Luz held her beloved talisman as she gazed off into the horizon, determined to face her new future. Shortly following her triumph over Belos, the Collector, before the return to the stars, created a brand new portal door connecting the Owl House to the abandoned house in Gravesfield, allowing Luz and her mother to return to the human realm. At some point following this, Camila purchased the abandoned property, allowing Luz direct access to the portal whenever she wanted. During these years, Luz helped repair the damage done to the Isle's infrastructure, though this came at the cost of being able to celebrate her 15th, 16th, and 17th birthdays. Later that night, Camila and Vi escorted Luz back to the Boiling Isles, where she was shocked to find all her friends and loved ones surprising her with a belated quinceañera in gratitude for her foregoing her previous 3 birthdays to help rebuild the Isles. Her girlfriend embraced her, along with a celebratory kiss on the cheek. After the initial surprise, Luz was amazed to discover that, due to King's growing powers, glyph magic could be utilized again, though differently from before. Shortly after, she and everyone else watched a light show in the sky created by the Collector as a birthday present for Luz before continuing their journey. As they watched the show in wonder and amazement, Luz held hands with Amity before emotionally thanking Ida and King for everything they had done for her. The 3 once more swore their bond as fellow weirdos, much to Luz's tearful joy. Upon noticing the light show was almost over and the Collector was soon to leave, Luz led the others in waving goodbye to the Star Child as they made their departure, in gratitude for the stunning display. And so, Luz Noceda's incredible journey in the Boiling Isles comes to a close, but her story is far from over. That wraps up our video for the day, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. See you next time.